Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Wednesday. I hope you are having a great week. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful weather we have outside. Fall is definitely here, and so far, it's been looking pretty good. Hope you're doing great. Wanted to share with you another chapter from the book of Daniel, perhaps one of my favorite books in the Bible, definitely, I think, my favorite book of the Old Testament. And we've made it to Daniel chapter 11, which has been a chapter that has been discussed and debated and tried to be understood for a long time. Even in our church, in the Adventist church, we've been trying to figure out Daniel 11 for a long time. So I am here today to solve it all. No, I don't know that I'm going to do that, but I wanted to just bring out some highlights. As you go into Daniel 11, you have to remember that Daniel 11 is connected to Daniel 10. That's kind of the introduction to it, where Daniel is vexed, he's concerned, and an angel comes to speak to him, to help him to understand. And it's important to remember that in Daniel 10, the angel says, I'm going to give you information about the future. I'm going to tell you about what happens to your people in the future, many days from now. And so there's mistakes that we make when we think Daniel 11 is all back in the time of Persia and Greece. It definitely starts there, but it doesn't end there. And it begins by saying, no, this is all the way to the future. And that makes sense because as we've seen prophecies like this, all the way from Daniel 2 and then Daniel 7 and Daniel 8, they all started in the time of the prophet, but then all of them were apocalyptic prophecies that stretched forward to the end of time. So it makes sense here in Daniel 11 that each time they've been starting there, going to the end of time, and it does that again, starting in the time of the prophet and moving forward to the end of time. And so that's what we're seeing here in Daniel 11. There's a lot of history going on as it talks about the Persian kings and then the Greek kings and then what comes after that. And then we have the king of the north, king of the south, which is hard to completely grasp and pinpoint in history, but it stretches all the way to the very end in verses 40 to 45. And then in chapter 12, verse 1, we have Michael standing up and we have the end time predictions. And so what we see in all this, it's easy to get lost in the woods and in all the details of the prophecy. But what we see is that God is predicting, just like he did in those previous visions, Daniel 2, 7, and 8. God is giving more information to his people, each time giving a little bit more detail, but reminding us over and over again that God understands what's going on. Even with the rising and falling of the nations, God understands, he knows what's going on, and in the end, God's people are going to be victorious. Even at the end, when there are political powers or religious powers that are going against people who are being faithful to God and to his word, even in those tumultuous times, the Bible is telling us you don't have to be afraid. God knows what's going on. He knows what's coming, not only in the world, but in your life. And God will be with you through it all. So that's what I gather from as I read through Daniel 11. And do I have it completely figured out? I do not. I'm not sure if we will before the very end. And that's okay, because Jesus said when it comes to prophecy, he said, when it happens, then you'll remember, oh yeah, I told you this beforehand. So it's not given to us so that we can make a perfect roadmap of knowing exactly what to do at the end of time. Jesus tells us these things so that when they happen, we can have the light bulb pop on and say, wait a second, yeah, the Bible told us this was going to happen. So just wanted to encourage you that way, that God is in control of the world and he's in control of your life. And though it may seem like the world is spinning out of control at times, God is at work. Never forget that. Friends, have a great rest of your week. I hope you'll join us this coming Saturday for worship here at Piedmont Park. We're going to be finishing up our series as we've been going through what it means to be a Christian and practical Christianity in our lives and how we live it. So I hope you'll join us here, Bible study at 9:30, and worship time starts at 11. Have a great rest of your week. Take care, everyone, and let's take care of everyone.